Hello, SLOconf, and welcome to Arguments in Favor. Why SLOs? I'm Stephen Weber, pronouns he, him. I'm an SRE at Procore Technologies. And this talk is for you if you are doing SLOs. So this is kind of a distillation of the kinds of conversations I have with people on product teams, service teams, and they've heard about SLOs. They think this is a good idea. They're ready to do it, but they still have some questions. They're trying to understand pragmatically, concretely, what are they going to do? And so this is the sort of things that I talk about when I talk about SLOs. The thing that I find myself saying the most out of anything is that SLOs are for making decisions. That's it. There's no magic to it. They are a tool that give you information about the system from a certain perspective, and they are there to help you do the things you're already doing. So we want to use SLOs anytime that we would be making a decision for the service or for the team. So when are developers actually thinking about making those kinds of changes? So the most natural time is during sprint planning. They're going to sit down, they're going to decide what is going into the sprint, what is not going to be done. And so it's a good time to reflect. Do we have enough burn rate to do the maintenance that SRE has been asking for? Can we turn on the feature flag for the thing that we've just delivered, or should we wait a little bit? Is it time to actually investigate the performance issue that we've been seeing? It's a good time as any to start looking at the SLOs. Just bring them up. Start getting in the practice. Similarly, quarterly planning is a great time to check in with the SLOs. What has happened over the past quarter? How has the services been performing so that we can prioritize what goes in and what goes out? So we might want to be able to commit to a feature. Maybe we haven't been able to deliver in a way that leads us to success there. Conversely, maybe things have been going well. Maybe now is a time to get ahead on the thing that security's been asking for because we have the time and space to engage with it. Another time that I would like to see more SLOs is during incidents. There's plenty of other talks that are suggesting ways that you can use SLOs to alert you to issues that are customer impacting before they become a real issue. I would also love to see them during the incidents because they can answer some of these questions. Is the incident getting better or worse? Should we use the fast fix or should we go with the safe fix? Those are all decisions that the SLOs can help us make in a way that reminds us about what the customer's experience, not necessarily what the service is experiencing. We also frequently talk about SLOs not being perfect, and I think that's great. We know that you don't actually need a perfect, accurate number to be able to make a good decision. But it still can be hard concretely to understand what does that mean for me that we're going to revisit the SLOs that we're making today. And it's in some ways, it's all of those other meetings that I've already talked about, because we're already going to look at the SLOs and kind of think about it. But I also like to talk about that we're going to change the SLOs when we learn more about the system. And we learn more about the system during things like sprint retrospectives, when we are already thinking about what happened and we can look, does the SLO reflect what we experienced during that period of time? Or maybe we missed something and we need to add some more to give us more clarity. Maybe something would have helped us make better decisions. So that's a good time. Incident retrospectives. We can already see, did the SLOs go off? Did they reflect the customer's experience during this time? And it's also a good time to check in. Did our other partner teams, did the other services that our service talks to, did they experience issues, or did our service cause some issues with them? Another time that I would love to see SLOs checked in on is when we're preparing system changes. So when you are adding a dependency, when we are switching the exact nature of the system, maybe we're upgrading the database, that's a great time to revisit the SLOs and see how the new performance affects those same metrics. That helps us make decisions about those system changes. Is this something in a good direction? Do we need to adjust? And that's also because SLOs are a good way to communicate. They explain what the system should be doing, And I like this because SLOs develop a common language of good. Above the line, bad. Below the line, we're good. Reliability is burning down. During this window, we can actually look at these events and kind of reason about them. We also develop more of a description about the service. And you will find in your company that you'll start developing shorthand ways of expressing what do services even do. So this is an example from a company I used to work for, and it's talking about well-formed requests. What does well-formed mean? We actually have to decide what that means. What is a request? What is a successful request? Actually piecing it out, defining what are those things. And so we're developing this idea of what do services do and what does it mean for those services to be good. And that helps us communicate with all of our stakeholders. This helps make it a better conversation with managers, with directors who can't get into the nitty-gritty about everything that's happening with the service. But putting it in this language of customers really helps us have this conversation about what is doing and how is it going. Product owners, project managers, designers already have a very strong customer focus. So this is a natural fit for us talking about what is the service doing. And the most customer focused, the folks that I love to talk about, is customer success and our support teams, because they are already looking at how does this affect the customer. And they are great resources for making your SLOs better or creating them in the first place if you're needing a place to start. So thank you so much to all of our stakeholders, because we're all doing this together. We're already going to answer questions in those settings of, is the service slower now? So why not let actual develop a way to tell instead of going with gut feelings or having to go unpack it one more time? So I'd like to change gears a little bit. Here at SLOconf, there are a lot of people here that are SREs or otherwise involved in rolling out SLOs. And I'd like to share a little story that helps me keep in perspective the sorts of things that I need to be thinking about when I'm talking about SLOs with other people. And so this takes us to the MIT AI lab, where Gary Drescher is having breakfast in the cafeteria. And a colleague comes by and hands him a piece of paper, says, I want you to have this personality test because I want you to be happy. And Drescher politely accepts the personality test, places it into the toaster, and says, I would like the toaster to be happy too. And for me, this somewhat humorous story reminds me that no matter how good the thing that I have is or how objectively good I think it is, I can't assume that other people get it or that it connects with their regular life. So when we're helping roll out SLOs, we need to connect with what are they actually doing? What is the actual context of how this work gets done? We need to make the users of SLOs happy because we're trying to make our end users happy, but our SLO users also need to be happy. So that is something that I like to keep in mind, and I hope that that might help you as well. So really, in keeping with what the SLO users are trying to do, we try to help them make better decisions. We know that SLOs aren't perfect, but we need to help them with what that process looks like. And that SLOs are for communication, and we should use this as an opportunity to describe our systems. And ultimately, we'd just like to stay out of the toaster. So let's continue this conversation. I'll be on the Slack channel for the conference. You can find me on Twitter or Mastodon. Also, some of my colleagues are also presenting. So if you're interested in some of these things, either go find them if they've already occurred, or wait for them coming up. And they're really great to talk to as well. So thank you for your time.